Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Mannino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. It's Michael Mannino, and welcome to Driven, Unscripted Success podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you, the audience, and how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island of Sebring, Florida, we have Steve Sapato, correct?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Okay. So I'm bad with names, but when it comes to Italian names, I'm pretty good. Steve is a public speaker and does a great job with showing people how to public speak, and which is the number one fear. And we were talking about fear off camera, and we kind of agree on a lot of things. Steve, do me a quick favor and introduce yourself and tell everybody where you're at and how you got to where you're at.
Obviously, Steve Sapato, I booked myself as the most famous, unfamous speaker in America. The reason I do that is because I've spent most of my life speaking under corporate umbrellas, which means I speak at companies. And nobody in the, I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not out there where everybody sees me. So I'm famous in the corporate world, but I'm unfamous most of other places. So the most famous, unfamous speaker in America, as you can see on my poster, wherever that's at, right?
Right behind you.
Yeah, I love teaching people how to be better at speaking. I started off many years ago, 1980s, as a speaker, but I taught college and public speaking for 7 years and learned a lot about what people were really afraid of, because obviously in college, people had to take that as a requirement, but most of them hated it when they started, and I wanted to help them get past it. And what it is you're afraid of public speaking, but you're never afraid of a conversation. So you have to learn how to have a conversation instead of doing a public speaking opportunity, like a speech, yucky, right? So that's what I tell people. That's what I teach. I'm out there all the time. You can reach me at steve@stevesapatoseminars.com if you need to email me. But I love to help people grow. I do business workshops. I do motivational workshops. So we do all that, cover the gamut. That's what we do.
Nice. Doing what you do, seeing it's the number one. So I know a little bit about fear. Doing what you do, I guess fear comes up a lot. And do you get people like, I had a friend of mine that, and I'm going to mess up the name, the girl that was running GM came up to her. He worked at GM and said, I got a speech to do and I need help. This is the girl that runs GM, right?
Yeah.
So she was looking internally for somebody to help her out with this. This guy helped her out and did a great job, and she enjoys it. What's the keys to getting somebody that's, you've done this 100 times, high-end individuals that are good at running businesses and managing people, but they don't want to get in front of the stage and show their magic to everybody else?
I think the greatest challenge for most of those people is that they don't want to look bad. They don't want to make a mistake. They want people to see them in a certain light. And that's where, especially when people are talking about doing a talk, doing a speech, leading a group. And what they do is they learn a speech. Don't do that. You have something to say.
I've seen that before. Oh, it's almost painful to watch.
Oh, it is painful. And that's why most people are boring when they speak. And you ask something, there's fear. And so a lot of people start here with fear. And then I meet the people on the other side who are way overconfident. Most people, and we all have to admit, most people we see give a talk are boring. Why is that? Is because they don't have a conversation with us. They don't involve us in their conversation. I teach a thing called Storytizing to the executives, to the CEOs, to the managers, which is all about relating to the audience that's in front of you. How do you make your talk, I was a real estate appraiser back in Illinois for 21 years. So, I rotated my business around all kinds. I had 4 different businesses at one point in time. But I went to this mandatory training down in Nashville, I think it was one time. And there must have been 5,000 appraisers at this event. And the guy standing in front was boring, just boring, because he had to teach us
boring to tears.
Rules and regulations about appraising. And everybody's
that's
like,
tough to make. You got to admit that's tough to make interesting.
I disagree with that completely.
Really?
What it is, you have a boring topic. No, you have a what do they call that? Your topic is not that vibrant.
Exciting.
But what makes it boring is the speaker. I guarantee you, if that gentleman would have said, "Hey, Steve, how would you say this?" Well, you tell a story about this law. You tell a story about this thing that you have to teach. You tell a story, like, hey, you talk about legal things. Have you ever walked out the back door of somebody's house as an appraiser and fallen through the deck? Most of the appraisers there would have gone, "Oh, yeah," and they'd have been chatting amongst themselves. One little conversation starter. So he talked for 8 hours. It was his job to teach us for that whole day. If he'd have told anecdotes and stories, involved us in that all day long, we'd have all been, "Oh
What?
man, this is great."
Well, not just that. You learn better.
Absolutely.
You retain it better,
Yeah. And
right?
if you can involve people, so I tell people all the time, the storytizing is taking your boring storytelling, right? Because people say, "Well, I know how to tell a story." I bet you don't, right? But anyway, you take your boring storytelling and you turn it into a blender called storytizing. When you come out, it's still your story, but it's using their memories, their emotions, and their experiences. And when you tell it that way, people are now paying attention, listening, and curious about what else you have to say. That's the key to being a great public speaker. So I mean, I got books out there. I got a storytizing ebook
Let's talk
out
about a
there.
little bit about that. You got two new ones coming out, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, thanks for
Tell a
asking.
little bit about those.
I've got two books coming out right away. One is going to be out probably in 30 days. By the time this gets out on podcasts, hopefully it'll be out. And it's called Shut Up and Succeed. So it's all about two things.
Great,
Really,
great,
two things.
great opening. Shut up
But
and
the
succeed.
first part is you have to quiet the inner voice in you that says, "I'm not good enough." We are all taught that from the beginning of time until now. You're not good enough. I remember I was at a restaurant with my son when he's like 8 years old or 6 years old, and somebody walked by and looked down at him and said, "Oh, you are so adorable. You're going to break hearts when you get old." And my mom looked at him and says, "Don't you believe them? You're ugly. You're ugly." And I went, "Mom, why are you doing that?" And her response was, "I don't want him to get a big head, right, and think so much of himself." And I looked at her at that time and I said, "The world's going to beat him up bad enough. The world always beats us up, doesn't it?" So when you
If
talk
you
about,
let it.
yeah, well, and that's just it. Shut Up and Succeed is all about quieting the inner voice and
Hmm.
then learning to ask questions, listen to the answer. I've got a whole method out there that I teach for workshops called the QL method. And that's what it is. You ask the question, listen to the answer. You ask another question, listen to the answer. And if you're in sales, that's how you get the prospect to close the sale. You didn't say,
Hmm.
"Hey, are you ready to close the sale?" You wait for them to go, "When can we get this started?" Or "How do we get this?"
Hmm.
So it's all about questioning and listening. So Shut Up and Succeed is what the book is about, learning how to be more successful in your conversations and in your thing. Then, of course, the second one I've got coming out probably about a month after that will be people skills. And I just finished it up.
Those are two great. Those are two
Oh,
great topics.
most people don't understand. We all think, and I see, you got so much in my head. I'm like,
I know, right? They're trying to call him.
if you walk
Focus.
up towards somebody, so if you have an interview, let's say, you're judged in the first 3 seconds of walking towards somebody. They have a pretty good idea whether they're going to like you or not like you. That's fascinating. 3 seconds. Then once you stand in front of them, you only have 7 seconds to affirm that if they like you or disaffirm that if they don't like you. You have to win them over in the first 7 seconds. So how do you do that? "Hi, I'm Steve Sapato. I'm your fabulous guy. I'm this, I'm that." No, you say, "Hey, it's great to meet you." And then you ask them a question or two so that they're like, "Oh, let me tell you about me." And that way they like you more because you're interested in
In
them.
them. Yep.
So you see, I've got a couple, and again, I've got, matter of fact, Michael and I were talking, and I said, I've got an ebook out there called "No BS Selling, No Bullshit Selling." I take the fluff out of all that, you can go through all the verbiage if you want, but here's the real nut for how you're going to
Meat
close
and
somebody,
potato.
sell somebody. So I got stuff coming out of my ears. Oh, Mike's reaching for his ear. Look out. I've got tufts in there. Got to take them out.
You do?
When you get old, you ever look at an older guy and he's got tufts in his nose, he's got all that hair sticking out of his
Yeah,
nose.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well,
why didn't your wife tell you? Yeah, why
here's
didn't your wife tell you to trim that? What is that all about?
I got some bad news for you. I might be older than you.
Oh no, I don't think so. How old are you?
60.
Oh man, you aren't even close.
No, not even close. Well,
I
you look
like you a
close to
lot.
my age.
77. I'm 77.
Wow.
I-
Bravo. It's
but
Italian in you.
I only want to live to be 100, because at 100 I want to be able to run the 50-yard dash. And people say, "You want to win the 50-yard dash for people who are 100 years old?" I said, "I did not say win. I said I want to run it at 50.
Right,
All I got to
right.
do is finish it. I don't care what place I'm in at 100. If I'm still going 50 yards down the road, I'm happy."
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I got a big question for you. So, if someone wants to get better at what you're doing, what tips and tricks would you give them? What suggestions would you give them?
First thing I'd tell them to do is hire me.
There you go. See, that's the first and foremost.
The key to every problem you have is to find out what you're doing or not doing. And the answer to that is if you record yourself. So let's say you want to give a talk. You record yourself giving that talk. You don't memorize it. You don't do this. You outline it. You highlight it. And you remember it well enough so that you can, if you've got a story, if you're telling me a story about an accident, about an event that happened in your life, and you're telling me a story, and somebody interrupts that story, do you panic and go, "Where did I leave off?" No, you just pick the story up and go on if you're interrupted. So, what's the difference? Excuse me, if you're on stage and get interrupted, right? It's because if people have it memorized, it has to be this is one, this is two, this is three. This
Where was I at? Where was I at in my speech?
That's right. And so
Not
the answer is,
conversation.
if it's your story and you're having a conversation with the audience where you're sharing that story, if you get lost, you can look at the audience and go, because something happened, something distracts you, and then you go, "Hey, where was I off?" And you know what? Somebody in the audience will go, "You were talking about this." Boom, you're right back into your story. So always record yourself, right? That way you can, like, so many people, somebody asked me the other day, "How can you tell AI from a real person?" And somebody said, "Well, you hold up 3 fingers in front of your face." That tells, "Oh, you know what? AI does this." And when they're talking about something, AI does that. So even if it's a 15 or 20-second AI thing, it's the exact same hand gesture, no matter what they're saying. So that's not natural. You and I don't do that. However, if you're nervous and talking on a stage, you'll find you give the same kind of gestures all the time. So learning that you do that and correcting it is one of the big keys. So always record yourself, even if it's a vocal thing. Record your audio. You want to get better at sales?
There you go.
Put your phone in your pocket, push the record button before you go in to close the sale or have that sales meeting. And when you come out, listen to it back. If it's an hour-long meeting, listen to the whole hour. Say, "This is where I did it right. This is where I made a mistake. Oh, this is exactly what I should have said. That's why I closed this sale. Ooh, I missed it here. That's why I didn't close the sale." Always record yourself. We have so many opportunities now. That to me would, I don't care what you're going to do, what you're going to do in life, how much you want to get better. Record yourself and see how you can improve yourself. That's my key. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, that's I like that. Someone mentioned a while back that videotape yourself, whatever you're doing, the 5 minutes of whatever you're doing, and then turn off the audio and then watch the video.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I hate that.
Right? Then they said, then put it down and just listen to it. And
Yeah.
just like you said, it really does. It helps you see yourself in a different light. Is that the correct term?
That's exactly, well, and you're listening for different nuances. If you're watching yourself, you're looking at yourself doing different things. I might be doing this way too much, right? Or this too much. And so if you're just watching it without verbiage, then you can see more readily what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Same with listening. If you're just listening, you can see where you hit the highs and lows. I ask people all the time when I teach them how to be great speakers, Michael, I go, "Do you think movie actors and actresses and TV show celebrities have to practice?" And everybody goes, "Well,
Oh, absolutely.
they got to learn their lines." I go, "No, nope. See, learning the lines is way down the list, truthfully. What they have to do, and if you see a close up in a movie, you see their face. Is their face conveying the emotion that needs to be conveyed?" And so the answer goes back to, do you know what your face is doing all the time? And the answer is
No.
probably no, because people ask you all the time, "Hey, you feeling okay today? Hey, you having a good day today?" Right? Or, "Are you happy this morning?" And of course, I'm nutball, and Michael and I probably share this, that if somebody, I go, "Hey, you having a good day?" And Michael says, "Well, yeah." I go, "You ought to tell your face," because it doesn't look like it. So your face
That's
conveys,
a good one.
yeah, well, your face conveys so much. And most of us spend no time on facial expressions, almost no time on gestures, head movement. All that will contribute to how you're going to be successful in what you are doing. So, yes, that recording and doing that kind of stuff, practicing the skills that make professionals professional, that makes a world of difference.
Yeah, I agree. So, Steve, do me a favor, share a challenge that you had to overcome in your career and how'd you do it?
Ooh, a challenge I had to overcome in my
What, let's
career.
give your biggest challenge, something that was like, changing. You said you were an appraiser. We do multifamily, and we have appraisers all the time
Oh,
to look at a property to see how much, if we buy it, is it worth that? You guys were, what you did was invaluable for real estate professionals. So, what
well,
was your biggest challenge, moving from one industry to another, or?
I think my biggest challenge, really, Michael, in life is being focused. From the day I started at 20 years old, I get bored easily. I've had 36, now 38 now, 38 different full-time jobs. Full-time meaning 40 hours a week for at least 3 months because I get bored. And I, like when I had the real estate appraisal company, I also had a nightclub. I also taught college. And then later on in that, I also learned how to deal craps and dealt craps on a riverboat casino. So I would tell people I was a riverboat gambler. And I had all those going at one time. And the reason was because I get bored with one. If I get bored riverboat gambling, so I spent just at a year on that. And then I don't want to do this anymore. Well, I wasn't pressured. This isn't my full-time job. So I got to quit. I say, you know what, I'm done. I'll see you guys. Have a great day. And that's what I've done with almost everything. When the real estate appraisal, I had a team of people who worked with me or for me. And when I got bored, I just said, hey, this is yours. Take it away. And I paid them, of course, commission to do that. And so I just got the cream of the top and was able to make a nice living from those guys working very hard. So I've always struggled with being focused and wanting. But here's my greatest challenge is I want to help more people. And more people don't seem to want to help. So, like, if you need help being a public speaker, call me. If you need help in sales, call me. I'm a small business nutball entrepreneur. And when you aren't filling your calendars, I have a program called 3 Minutes to Yes, and I guarantee results that I will guarantee that you will fill your calendars with this methodology or you get your money back. And so
Hmm.
I'm always wanting to help people get better. And I'm not, I see the gurus out there who, hey, you want me to help you with this? Matter of fact, I was just talking to somebody yesterday. I can help you with that for only $15,000. $15,000, now to them maybe it's not much. To me, I still think 15,000 is a boatload of money. My programs are anywhere from like $149 for 3 minutes to yes to 6,000 if you want me to teach you how to be an excellent public speaker for 3 months. So in that realm, I've got several other things, but I think that's the greatest challenge is I want to help more people and I'm not sure how to make that connection, even though I teach people how to make connections. Because so many people, Michael and I were talking about that earlier. People are afraid. They have a fear.
Fear, fear
Michael,
is fear
Michael
is
teaches
huge.
how to overcome fear. Matter of fact, we put a thing in our heads. We might end up doing a workshop together, him teaching fear, me teaching public speaking, where we could really help you overcome the fear and get you on the stage, or if that's what you want to go, or learn just to be great in front of people, whether you're leading a group, leading a meeting. And those are the things that we talk about. And so we want you to get over your fear. And I tell people all the time, public speaking creates confidence. Most of us need more confidence. We need to be more self assured. We need to have that empowerment, self empowerment, whatever you call it, empowerment, so that
Mhm.
we can do what we need to do. We can say what we need to say without screaming and hollering and going nuts, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I kind of like the screaming and hollering and going nuts stuff. Don't steal my thunder.
Are you out there at the No Kings rally? And
No, 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 I'm not crazy. Well, it's not. Well, so when in my fear speech, I am a professional brick breaker. So I scream into the bricks, and it sounds crazy, but it sounds perfectly normal to somebody that's
I don't know
much
if I
more
was trying to break a brick, I'd probably scream too. Like, I hope it
experienced.
breaks. I was like, I hope it breaks.
No,
What if it doesn't? Ah!
you can break a brick relatively easy. If we get together and do an event, I'll have you break a brick in front of everybody. It's all mind over matter, and you know that.
Yeah. Well, if you look, I'm looking for, if you look right here, there's a line
I
right
see
in
that.
the forehead.
What'd you do?
When we were young,
Last Thursday.
fighting was acceptable. We'd punch each other,
Yes,
knock each other
yes,
down,
yes,
right?
yes.
And then you'd help each other up too, right? Because you earned respect. Well, I caught a board right across there one time, cut it open,
What was the board for?
What was the board for? Somebody hit
It
me
was
with
a fight.
it. Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
So we understand that because of our age. And back in the day, I mean, people nowadays just won't understand this. Is when men got to fighting and then they found the winner. Yeah, it was. It still, believe it or not, it still happens today, but it only happens in the UFC. You ever see the end of a UFC fight?
oh, yeah.
They get back up and they hug each other, and
Yeah,
people think that's insane, but we get that.
that's right.
You
We
gave
do.
your best, I gave my best, the person won that won, I won, you won, whoever won, and you move on. And
That's right.
it's a huge lesson in life for most people, but most people are afraid to accept it. Well, most people are terrified to jump in the ring,
Yeah. Well, they're
right?
terrified. They're terrified of having a conversation. So,
Right.
because I could lose. What if I lose? What if I lose this conversation? Then it destroys my mentality, because it blows my mind. And it's really difficult. So if you get the chance to watch Michael in one of his workshops, matter of
Events.
fact, you probably, if you're watching this, subscribe to the podcast and he'll put you on a list so that you can come see him the next time he speaks in public. And you can get the opportunity to break a board, probably not a brick, but a board to start with, and certainly get to know how to overcome fear. And
Yes.
that's what you really want to do. You want to overcome any fear in your life, because fear, lack of confidence, whatever you want to call it, is what holds you back. And that is what we have to overcome. We have to learn how to empower ourselves to move forward. Constant learning, constant growth is what we really need to do. So I highly recommend that you go see Michael when you get the opportunity.
So you see how Steve's a great teacher on how to coach people how to be successful in public speaking. That was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I highly suggest. You're very fair price. I know a lot of coaching companies out there. You're one of the fairest price people I've ever met for what you do. I would highly recommend Steve. If you want to get into public speaking or learn how to be better at it, at very fair price. He really knows what he's doing too. You just saw it. You just saw what he does in 2 minutes, what, most people can't do in a lifetime. The number one fear is public speaking, right? I mean, it's the number one fear of humans. Some people to death that'd rather die than go public speak, which sounds
Isn't it
insane to us.
crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, like get on stage and you trip and fall. Who cares? But
Well,
here's something I need if I was your student, here's one of my big problems in public speaking. If someone says you should care about this, and I'm like, well, I just want people to not be afraid. I don't care about anything else. Well, people try to get me to care about something. And the best way I describe it is I go like this. I go, oh, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I don't care. I
no
just
wonder,
don't care.
no wonder we get along so well.
I
I get up on stage here at the place I'm at, and when I do I do the MC work, and I go, "How is everybody today?" And they all go, "Great." I go, "I don't care." So it's one of those things where if somebody says you should care about this, the answer is no. I care about what I care
they
about.
try though. They try their butt off.
Well, and you should
Isn't
have,
it formula and manipulation? You should care about
yeah.
what I think you should care about.
Well, and you say, why is that? I go back to the question, why is that? Why should I care so much about that? They go, because it makes a difference. Like, feed the hungry the world. You should care about feeding the hungry the world. I go, why should I care about that? And they go, because we need to do more to feed the hungry. I go, let me ask you a question. What did you do last week to feed the hungry right here in Sebring, Florida?
Right.
And they'll go, what do you mean? I go, just what I ask. What did you do last week to feed the hungry here in Sebring? They go, I'm talking about a bigger scale. I go, fix your problem at home first, then we'll talk
Right.
about the bigger thing. Let's fix world hunger. You're not going to fix world hunger, but let's fix hunger on your street, on your block, in
Correct.
your neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it is one of those deals where, yeah, we should care more about certain things, but we have also learned that making it too big won't allow us to get any results, even if we cared. I tell people all the time, we care about things because the news tells us to care about things. When I was growing up, the news was local. I grew up in Moline, Illinois, Davenport, Iowa. You heard the local news, and then for a half an hour a day, you heard the world news, right? Walter Cronkite or whoever was then out there. And they talked about world news. Now you're bombarded. My second wife, we ended up having giant challenges because she would get wrapped up. I remember one day she was just really bent. And I was, what's going on? She goes, oh my God, there was a bus crash and 60 people were killed. I went, where was that? And she went, like Bolivia. I went, what? And she went, yeah, 60 people were. I said, did you know them? She said, no. I said, how were you affected with it? Well, I saw it on the news. We've learned to care about stupid things. Sorry, I don't have any relationship to those. I can't help what happened there. I don't know what
Right.
happened there. And yet people are too afraid to get involved right here. Let's talk about
That's a very good point, Steve. That's a very, very good point. So don't care about what you can affect. Care about what you can affect.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
remember my wife. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news for decades. And one time, the TV was on. I couldn't find the remote, and the news came on. And I'm scrambling for the remote. And I used to live in Michigan, right outside of Detroit. And they literally had, in the time I couldn't find the remote, they told me about a double homicide, a guy killing his wife and kids, and the guy shooting his son and doing all this in 5 minutes that I couldn't find my remote. That's why I don't watch the news.
That's right. That's right. And even I tell people all the time, Michael, that even the weather is geared towards negativity. They don't say, hey, it's going to be a fabulous 90-degree day. They go, it's going to be hotter than hell. You could fry an egg on the hood of a car. It's going to be miserable, right?
Heat index, right?
That's right.
You're
On
gonna
the other
bring your
side, hey,
dogs in,
it's
worry
too
about this,
cold.
worry
Yeah.
about that.
And the stupidity of that is, and we talk a lot. When you get old, you talk about all kinds of weather. And they had this huge snowstorm somewhere recently, and my friends from that you're still on Facebook and Instagram said they thought that was a storm. Do you remember the storm of 1976 back here in the Quad Cities? We got like 47 inches of snow in 3 days or something. But it was massive. And yet to hear those people talk 47 inches of snow in 3 days now is world changing. No, it's not.
We're just, Steve. I got some bad news for you. We're cut a little different. We're not cut like the rest of this world. This world is God. I'm going to get in trouble on this one. The continued pussification of the adult male is driving me bananas. Like the stuff we went through would be criminal nowadays.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh, it
fights,
would.
what happened here? Let's take our trip down memory lane. So I used to live in Detroit, right next to Indiana, right? So when that storm happened, what'd you guys do?
That's big snowstorm you're talking about?
Yep.
Basically, we dug tunnels for the kids. We had a great time. We took 3 days off work. We dug tunnels for the kids. We all played. It was great.
So that's what tragedy taught us.
Yeah.
We remember you couldn't see the cars for the people in global warming. I don't believe, because I remember that day, and there was 3 feet of snow in the street, and your car is 4 feet tall. You saw bumps in the roads, which were cars. You're not getting anywhere.
No.
So you just, whatever you got in the refrigerator is what you're going to survive on the next 3 days. If you ain't got nothing, guess what? You're going to go hungry. But it was, I thought it was great. I really did. I started building snow forts and had a good time. And it was one of the coolest. We remember it how many years ago? 40, 50 years ago?
Yeah. Well, I think the thing there, Michael, is that we're driven by the negativity. Everything, like you said, the news is negative, the weather is negative, everything is negative, as opposed to being, hey, you got 3 days off of work and school, go out and build some tunnels. It was like, oh my God, the world's ending, too much snow. And so you have to reach out to the people around you. You have to reach out to people and say, what a great day. What a fabulous day. I wake up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, not because I want to get up at that time, because that's what time I wake up. And I'll go out and sit on my patio, and I've got a little Tibetan bowl that I bong and do my meditation. And I'll go out and sit on the patio, and as soon as it's light enough, I try and video something, not necessarily myself, but I say, hey, look at this. The sunlight's coming up. It's going to be a fabulous day. What are you doing to make it a fabulous day? And the people who get on at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning go, hey, I'm doing this. I'm having a great day. That's what we need, is fewer people complaining and more people driving happiness. That's what we need.
You hit the nail on the head. You're this old, I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, Ojinwan was talking to Anakin
Obi-Wan
when he was a little
Kenobi.
kid. Ojinwan, Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson.
Oh, okay. All right.
Remember? He
Yeah.
was talking to the first Darth Vader, or when he was a kid, and he goes, "I can't teach you, but be mindful of what I say." And he goes, "Your focus will become your reality."
Oh,
That stuck with me. If you focus on negative, what do you get?
negative.
If you focus on
Absolutely.
positive, like Steve's saying right now, he's telling you the truth. If you focus on positive, positive will surround you.
I'm writing that down just so you know.
Well, just go watch. I forgot which one it was out of the nine, but
Oh yeah, you
it
want me to
was
go watch 9 shows so I can find
no,
that?
no. The
Oh,
one I'm trying to the specific one about Naboo. Remember the Naboo, the robots, and they were fighting against the
I'm lucky to
creatures
remember there
under the
was a
water.
movie. I thought it was one giant movie. I didn't. There were different movies.
They made a theme park on it too in Florida. It's big. I don't know if you know, Steve. It's pretty big.
That's what my
Um.
wife. My wife said we've gone. We live down here about 2 hours away from Disney World or Universal Studios,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
the grandkids always want to go down to Universal because they love Harry Potter, and we'll go and she'll go. Which Harry Potter was this? And I go, what do you mean? And she goes, well, they had like 7 movies. I went, I have no idea. I thought there was
I
one.
have no idea what you're talking about.
They all were the
Steve,
same to me. I don't care.
we're cut from the same mold. I swear to God, we probably grew up in the same near the same town. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Did you? How was speaking of that? How was the Harry Potter park?
Oh, I love it. It's fabulous. It really is a fabulous park. You should, if you haven't,
Diagon
if you get the
Alley and the
opportunity.
dragon
Yeah.
and stuff.
And the dragon is fun. I'll stand there I think the dragon erupts about every 20 minutes. I don't even know when, but I'll wait. My wife will go, okay, we're moving on. I go, no, not until the dragon spits its fire. Sorry. That's the only thing I
So
really get a kick out of that thing. And boy, that's on a 4-story building or 5-story building.
yeah,
It breathes fire and you can feel the heat all the way down the avenue there. It's really
in Florida, you can feel the heat. Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
yeah,
that's got
see?
to be hot. So how many grandkids you got?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Let's
Well, how
see.
many do you take to the park at least?
Well, normally only two. We normally take
Okay.
two because
So your
I try
wife's
to
got
take.
3 kids. Your wife's got 3 kids, the 2 grandkids and you.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. You've been talking to my wife again? Yeah,
Hey,
we've got 3 grandkids from one of hers, and then I think Jordan has four kids, so it'll be 7 there, and then I've got one adult grandkid another from my daughter. So
awesome.
what's that, 8 or something? But yeah, so it is one of those deals where when you decide to have a great time and when you decide to not
Hmm.
live in negativity, your life will change. That's why I'm constantly telling people, what are you learning? What are you listening to? What are you reading? What are you watching? Who are you surrounding yourself with? It's one of those deals where you have to have the right attitude in order to achieve the right things in your life. What are you looking for?
Exactly. I agree with you 1,000%. Sounds like things are going pretty well for you. Thinking about the future and how do I put this? Have you ever created passive income, and what advice could you give on that? Something you do where you don't have any hands-on effort. Like, well, the business that you had, you kind of backed off, and you started something. What kind of passive income have you done over the years?
When I think of passive income, I think of walk away. In other words, here's if I have, and I started this about 4 years ago. I don't remember during COVID, however long ago the speaking industry is completely shut down. So I started designing coffee cups and T-shirts because somebody said you can make a lot of money doing that. No, you can't, and because they said they'll buy them online and then you'll be making money all the time. No, they won't. Okay, so if you advertise the right place, if you do the right things, but I do have, a matter of fact, I'm putting it together now. My 3 Minute Yes program, I'm trying to design into a passive income stream,
There you
along
go.
with a couple others, which means they'll be out there on my website. You can click on it and buy it. And then however much money I make from each one of those. That's the same true with books. If you publish your book to Amazon, you make about 15%. If you publish it yourself through like Kindle or something, you make 75%. So for every book I sell, and I don't even know what we're going to be selling for, let's say 14.95,
Right.
then I would make, let's say, $10. And I tell people all the time, how much money do you really need? What are you going after? Because there's so many programs out there that say, and I listen to these because I want to hear how other people market. I want to hear how other people talk, how they drive sales. And they'll say, these people are making $25,000 a month. These people are making $35,000 a month, right? Well, that's $400,000, $500,000 a year. How much money do you need? So I looked at my sales program, which is basically the 3 minutes to yes. And I know that it will make somebody, I broadcast it out. You want to make $200,000 a year in sales by filling your calendar. This $149 program is the program for you. So if I made, let's say made 150 on each one of those programs, if I sold 10 a day at $150, that's $1,500. If it only worked Monday through Friday, that's $7,500. So let's round it to 8,000 because it's easier for my brain. $8,000 a week times what? 52 weeks? That's $400,000 a year. Woo, that's plenty of money. I don't know how much you need, but that's way more than
That's doable.
I could start giving money away at $400,000 a year. And so passive income is something that you love doing. So if the books never sell, if the program never sells, I still had a great time designing the program and selling it to the people I know to help them improve their business. That to me is the secret sauce to everything I do, which is, am I having fun doing it? Then keep doing it. When it stops being fun, when you stop enjoying it, then stop doing it. If it's frustrating, you go, I can't figure this out. I'm not selling anything. Stop it. It's not working. It's making you unhappy. Move on to something else. That's the
right. That's very good advice. That's very good advice, Steve. Last question. We probably kept you too much time. I do appreciate it. I think we hit it off too well.
Yeah, we had too much fun.
Too much fun. There you go. That's it. We had too much fun in this podcast. One of the big questions we like to ask is, if you could go back to your 20s, what would you do different, and what would you do the same?
That is such a difficult question.
Isn't it?
Somebody says,
I'm leaving you with that one.
Yeah, if somebody said, if you could go back and tell your 18 or 20-year-old self one thing, what would it be? And of course, mine would be buy Amazon, right? Buy Amazon stuff.
Tesla. I would say Tesla. Tesla's going nuts.
But there's always one thing out there that if you bought it when you thought about it, it's like, I'm trying to think, currency. When they talk about whatever
crypto,
we're doing.
You got all kinds of
crypto.
currency. Gold.
If they
Gold
say crypto, well, I bought silver when it was $6 an ounce.
Good for you.
And I kept it for 5 years, and then divorced, so I had to sell everything. So I had to sell my silver, but it would only be $100 an ounce now. That's still not a huge big difference. But if you'd have bought crypto when it was, they said they ordered a pizza with $25 worth of crypto, which would be worth something like $5 million today. So if you could do that. So I'd go back and told my younger self to buy Amazon. The challenge comes with, if I had told myself not to marry this person or not to marry that person, then I would be doing away with the children I gained from those two relationships. So it's tough. I think I wrote a relationship book called The 20 Things You Need to Learn in Order to Find the Love of Your Life. And I wrote that as I was coming out of my second marriage, because I kept asking, how could I have married somebody who was always this hateful and this driven to give pain out to both her children and to me? And so
what was the answer to that question?
Well, I interviewed 2,400 people over the course of 2 years to put together this little $99 workbook. And what I tell people all the time is, when we're in love, we don't listen to ourselves. In a couple examples in the book, one was this lady had dated this guy for 2 years. When they got engaged, his dad looked at her and said, if he ever hurts you, please let me know. And I was like, wow. I said, when you ask him about that, what did he say? She said, well, I didn't ask, because I thought it was just like like he meant if he breaks your heart, if he does this. 2 weeks after they got married, he starts to physically abuse her. And she said, I didn't stay another 2 weeks. I was out. As soon as somebody hits me, I'm gone.
Yeah, well, she had respect for herself. A lot of people don't.
But you see, that was the deal where somebody actually said, you're in a danger zone. And if you'd have asked, and that's true of all of us.
Red flag.
If we all had listened to those red flags, oh no, I'm in love, mine's going to work out better.
Yeah.
Probably not. That's why the 20 to me is such a thing. The 20 things you need to learn in order to find the love of your life. So if I go back and tell myself, it'd be, hey, pay more attention.
Pay more attention to that. What would you do differently? What would you do different? What would you do the same? What would you do the same?
I always say I would learn how to argue with my second wife. I would learn how to argue. That was a real challenge. She would lose her mind on lots of stuff. They said it's I don't want to say split personality, but this side and that
A
side.
disorder of some sort.
Yeah. And if I'd have learned how to argue, I probably wouldn't have argued, not nearly so much. And I'd have just said, it's not working. And I wouldn't have walked away from the marriage, but I certainly wouldn't have stood and screamed at each other for 21 years, that it turned out. I left when my son was 17 because I didn't want to leave him with an abusive mother. And so I left when he was 17 and was really excited to walk away. And what I would have done different then, I'd have asked for my half.
Some people
I was so happy to get out.
Give away the farm to get away from the.
That's why I was so happy to get out. Here's
Right.
everything. I walked away. I tell people all the time, I walked away with a color TV, a hot tub, and a recliner. And that's what I moved into my new
digs with.
Little teeny house with. So I left a house with a swimming pool and all that stuff and moved into this other house in a really bad part of town because that's what I could afford. And that's all I left with. And if I had to do over again, I'm a cook. I love cooking, and I bought all kinds of good cooking utensils, and I had lots of tools. And you just walk away and leave it all behind. And it's unfortunate that you didn't have it, but that's the way it goes. I'm happier now than I've ever been.
Good. That should be the goal of life. To enjoy every minute.
Yeah, I've got I got the perfect wife. She's just so nice to me. I mess up all the time.
Would you have found her back now that you go? Here's something. I got her first. I would have went to her. Wherever she's at back then. Then omit all the other problems.
Yeah. Well, she grew up in New Mexico. I grew up in Iowa, so we probably would never have met each other had we not taken the paths that we took in order to end up at the same place at the same time. We ended up down in North Carolina and met there, and
North Carolina's awesome.
Pardon?
North Carolina's awesome.
Oh, it was. Beautiful place, beautiful location. And we traveled the country. We were corporate trainers and traveled the country from one coast to the other coast. And spent all kinds of wonderful times together, had great adventures. And she's always been absolutely perfect to me and helpful.
Nice. Well, Steve, what do you got coming up the next 6 to 12 months? What do you got plans for the near future?
That's a great question. I'm redesigning a website because I don't think my website is interactive the way I want it to be. So always look at what you're currently doing, see if you want it to improve. So I've got somebody working on a new website. And then, of course, I've got my 2 books out, which will be out probably in the next 2 months, 3 months at the most. They're getting their covers redesigned. I think I'm a great cover designer, and then I look what somebody else puts together and I go, okay, maybe mine wasn't so great. Always be open to somebody else's advice and information. And then, of course, I'm hoping, I loved being an MC, and I want to be doing more MC and speaking work, going into companies, corporations, and helping other people have great events and great times. That's what I do.
Nice. All right, Steve, thank you very much for being on the show. And anybody would like to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
Oh, fabulous. Steve at stevesapato.com. That's SAPATO. In case you're listening to it, SAPATO, Steve Sapato. Of course, go to stevesapatoseminars.com if you want to look me up. But if you Google Steve Sapato, you probably have too many pages to be able to read. So reach out to me.
All right. Sounds good. Steve, thanks a lot for being on the show. We really do appreciate it. And for everybody else, please like and subscribe to have some more content like this. Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.